a little different. It's a little different.
Right. How were you guys perceived on the East Coast in particular? Because a lot of people, you know, definitely like the East at one point wasn't really rocking with the West and the South. Could you kind of speak on that? How was perceived?
Yeah, man. When you make it on the East Coast, man, you made it because they have always been your strongest critics. Always. We East Coast was a motherfucker at first. You know, all the way up until Biggie opened up the door. And when Biggie opened up that door for us and showed all the East Coast motherfuckers, it's okay to flip that shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't flip that shit. This is a style. It's for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's for hip hop to grow. You know what I mean? You know, and he showed so much love that all the East Coast gave us love. And it's been on since 1997, but around 93, 94, 95, 96, it was a struggle. It was difficult as fuck. We got into some shit out there, but you know, we had the right people in our corner, and we wasn't no asshole ass motherfuckers. So Fat Joe, I give a lot of love to him on the East. Method Man, lots of love to him on the East. They really had people that embraced us out there and was like, them dudes is all right. You feel me? They all right. You feel me? Gave us a chance. So it was just one hand grabbing another hand, man. It was really, it turned out to be really, really good. But anybody, you know what I'm saying? When this shit first came out, the East, now it's down South, you know what I'm saying? And, everybody down South is like supporting they shit. Because I got my booking agent, he was like, I got these artists from down South from ATL, and they got millions of followers, but I can't get them no shows outside of fucking ATL. So what that did was that made me think, I'm like, these motherfuckers is supporting their goddamn selves. They are making their own motherfuckers platinum.
Yep.
And that's how the fuck they winning. That's how the fuck they winning. They are streaming they shit. I'm like, oh, I get it now. So it shifted, it shifted some, and that's why you hear music the way that it is now. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit. You feel me? Over and over, and that's cool. Do your thing. My kids, they love it. You feel it? There's certain shit that I like as well. Of course, I ain't no goddamn hater. But yeah, New York was a motherfucker, baby. It was a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You talked about Notorious Thugs. It's probably one of my favorite verses of yours of all time, was the joint you spit with Biggie.
Yeah.
Talking about and reflecting on that, and even this new stuff you got going on, because you're still rapping at a very high fucking level. What's one of your hardest verses you feel as though you've ever spit that's ever been heard from the audience ear?
That's never been heard?
That's ever been heard. So something that we've heard.
Oh, something that you've heard?
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I'm gonna have to roll with the Biggie thing because of how long it took for me to write it and how spiritual it was. And of course, the Pac one is a close, they parallel each other, of course. But that Biggie verse, I took time and I erased a lot of shit in there, and it was exactly what I wanted to talk about with God and spirituality and Armageddon and war and all of those things. So that has to be one of them ones, man. I can't overshadow that.
That's a classic. And you think about Verse of the Month now as what we're going on right now, and it's almost like, damn, what were them young boys thinking? What were they going through to predict almost what we got going on now? We talked about that with CeeLo with Goody Mob too.
Yeah, that's one talented motherfucker.
Hell yeah. Verse of the Month, man. How does it correlate to what we got going on right now in 2020?
I mean, well, I think that it lasted. I think First of the Month lasted so long because we still all got to pay bills on the first or around the first or near the first. It started off as everybody would get their welfare checks. And if you was dealing or if you was in a house to where shit, motherfuckers ain't had no jobs, that was how you ate. Like, that's how you got your shoes for school. It was everything, that and the food stamps and all of that. So I think it correlates today with the struggle aspect of it, of course. And it's still, government funding for disenfranchised, or not disenfranchised, shall we say, but just people ain't got no goddamn jobs. Right. So I think it still goes down. And I just think that it's a song for people that ain't rich than a motherfucker. You know what I mean? I think that make them feel come from this is that struggle, but it feel good. Some of the best times we ever had was when we didn't have. And that's always been true because I guess we appreciate it more or whatever the proper philosophy is behind it. But so that's why I think it still reigns true today, because it's still people out there struggling and going through their shit, you know?
Definitely. Biggie Smalls. Now, you had the opportunity to work with him, be around him, I'm sure, on numerous occasions, man. Could you just talk about, you know, how it was to be around him and especially creating music with Biggie Smalls for our listeners?
I mean, you know, when you're around a legend, man, like you just know it. Like, and he was New York. Like, he was the king of New York. Like, he really, really was. And he was crowned the king by New York. Like, he never said, I'm the king of New York. He had his Frank White thing. He put a couple of things out there, but man, I don't know if there ever going to be anybody that get love like Biggie. You know what I mean? He was on Rakim love status. When Biggie was there, him and Rakim was running a close parallel as far as respect-wise. But my personal experiences with him, like, I had an opportunity to perform and talk to him, like when we were in the tunnel with Easy, we was kicking it with Big. When he was over there talking to Ice Cube, we was over there kicking it with Big. When we got into it in New York with some niggas, Big was there. Like, he told me, go get your niggas and get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? When I sat down with Big, the studio session, I just had the opportunity to just smoke and drink with my nigga and just talk with my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just like listening to music and how you doing. And you remember we was in the tunnel, and it, you know, it was memorable than a motherfucker, man. It was just, and I'll always hold on to that. I seen him in my dreams. You know what I'm saying? So I know there was some sort of a close bond and a close relationship when you see a motherfucker in your dreams and they talking to you and shit and they telling you what's up and how they doing and what's going on over where they at. So definitely it's memorable, man. It's memorable. I know I ain't the only one, but I'm one of them ones that had a real few good moments with him.
Right now, speaking of him, you know, and Pac, how did you feel, you know, when that whole thing went down between the East and the West and them two? What do you think, and from your perspective, that went wrong, Biggie and Pac beef?
Like now, you mean now? Like, cause I know the shit. Like now, I think that old boy, Jimmy, the guy who set up Pac, I don't really like throwing names out there. It's already known or whatnot. Right. But the dude who set Pac up, I just think that he was so street that, you know, I guess Biggie couldn't go against the grain. You know what I'm saying? And I think everybody knew. And, you know, I guess Pac felt some kind of a way. And I don't even think to this, like when I walked into the in the studio with for the Biggie session, my little brother, rest in heaven, Capital Confucius, he walked in with a Tupac shirt on. Biggie didn't flinch. Like Biggie didn't even seem like he wasn't mad, he wasn't uncomfortable. So I could tell energy and vibe wise, he had too much love. And this was after Pac got killed. You know what I'm saying? This after Pac was murdered. You feel me? I mean, Lil C's was a little upset with my little brother, and they got the eye bugging each other for about 15, 20 minutes till I sent my little nigga out. And I started realizing, like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, yeah, this is fucked up. Like, you know, you don't be thinking and shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think everybody in the world knew Biggie didn't have nothing to do with it. He was just a victim of association, basically, to cut the story short, you know?
Those are two legends we damn sure miss, especially today, because obviously the curiosity is where they would have been now, where the evolution in music would have been, mind, business, etc. That kind of wants me to transition into Carbon Monoxide, man. You dropped that a few months back right off the heels of your beef. I don't want to say beef, I misunderstand, whatever you want to call it, with the Migos. One of my favorite bodies of work as well, I think more so because of the timing. Obviously, it was something that a hip hop listener from our generation definitely appreciated, because we were kind of a little bit sick of the mumble and all that shit, even though you got a little bit of a more of appreciate of it now. Talk about the layout of Carbon Monoxide. I know you said you're about to go on tour and do your thing with Carbon Monoxide and transition into your new album. Can you just talk about the layout of Carbon Monoxide, motivation behind it, and what was next for it?
Well, I mean, I think that them young bulls kind of motivated me and inspired me to a certain extent, and I had the majority of it mostly for Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like there's a song on there called I Remember What Easy Said. There was a song that didn't make it on there called It's Still More Murder. So I was putting together this record for all Bone Thugs and Harmony, but my guys, you know, everybody was over here, everybody was over there. You know, my niggas was like doing the road thing, and you know, it just wasn't clicking like shit supposed to click musically or record wise. And, you know, so I decided to continue with what I was doing, and it just got better and better and better each song that I started completing in the studio. And then my producer, Blaze, he was the one that he's been in the thick of Bone Thugs and Harmony music. So putting all of this stuff together was fairly easy. And I had to make sure I added in the stuff about them young bulls just because it was like people wouldn't stop. You know, for instance, I was on Instagram Live. I had a couple too many glasses of wine, and I pulled out a couple of guns. You know what I'm saying? I pulled out 357. I pulled out my shit, just, you know, my shotgun. Everybody called it the musket. And then they tried to say I was saying that towards them young bulls, but I wasn't talking about them young bulls. But people had put it all in the air, and you know, the little niggas was like talking to Lay kind of crazy, talking about sleeping with his wife and nigga, you ain't got no money and all this other stuff. And I just decided to do what I do. So putting all of that stuff together, it just came together, and I started shooting videos for it. And then I wanted to give the people a real good record, something that I don't